bum 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 ba-dum bum 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 ba-da-da-dum bum bum ba-da-ba-ba-dum rum bum 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 ba-dum bum 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 ba-da-da-dum bum bum ba-dum ba-ba-dum. Hi, everyone. Oh, you are all so kind. You're so sweet. Merry Christmas. Hi, Harry. Hi, Antoinette. Hi, Beverly and Laura and Janice, New Hampshire, and Susan from Ohio. Oh, my gosh, it's so good to see everyone. It is the time to be joyous, isn't it? It's a great time of the year. It's the most wonderful time of the year. So it's great to see blessings to you this season. Kim from Oregon. Hi, Karen. Hi, everyone from South Dakota and New Hampshire. I love to hear where you're from. Edmonton. Hello, Canadian friends. Oklahoma. Angela, hi. Wonderful to see everyone. Tampa. That's Janet. Great to see you. Blessings from Yorktown, Virginia. Yeah, it's pretty snowy here. I'm up north, and it's pretty snowy and blowy, and it's a beautiful thing. Merry Christmas from Arizona, Conchetta. You know Conchetta, I had an aunt Conchetta. I love that name. It's a great name. Hi, Donna. Merry Christmas. Hi. Now, they're not new glasses. It's the same. You know, I just get these glasses from 5 and 10 stores. Are there such things as 5 and 10 stores still remaining in this world? Yeah, I mean, I get them all kinds of places. They're just reading glasses, so I have them all over the house. Hi, friends. My name is Joette Calabrese, and we're here on Monday night, as we do every single Monday night at 8 o'clock Eastern Time. We do that one thing and one thing only, and that is we talk about homeopathy. I teach you what I know. I try to share information so that you can really get going. Hi, Barb. Hi, Barb from South Bend, Indiana. Mark's mom, I know who you are, Barb. I miss you, sweetie. I miss you. And so that's what I do. For those of you who don't know me, for those who do know me, hi, friends. It's great to see you all. It's wonderful. Good sound here. Thank you for letting me know, because our sound is often an issue. So I got the microphone good and close. And it's Christmas time, and we have things to talk about, don't we? I know my demographics here pretty much. The median age, I believe, is somewhere between, is women generally, even though, hi, Harry, I know you're here, is anywhere between 35 or 40 plus. The median age, I think, is someplace around 45 years old. And so maybe you don't have bursitis yet, but I've started to get a little bursitis, or I thought it was bursitis. And then I did a little more work on it and said, no, I think this is different than bursitis. But first, I'm going to talk about bursitis, and then I'm going to talk about what I think that I've got, and a couple different ways to look at it that might help you. Okay, so bursitis can be made worse. You know, bursitis is the bursa of the area around a joint, and it can get inflamed. And cold weather can inflame it. Foods that we eat can inflame it. Certainly age is, it occurs more often as we age. It can be around the knees and the elbows or the shoulders. Most common is I believe the most common are the knees and the elbows. But we also see it in other parts of the body as well. Any place there's a bursa, and bursas are all at the joints. So it's a little sac of fluid, and it gets inflamed, and it can be from repetitive use, like elbow, tennis elbow, golfer's elbow, not gophers, golfer's elbow, that old joke. It can be an inflamed knee. It can be ankles. It can be really pretty much anywhere. And so I think it's a good time to talk about it because for two reasons. One is the cold weather. Cold weather can inflame the bursa, the joints, which would be more arthritic, and then but also it's the holidays. It's Christmas. Hanukkah, I think, just started too. Happy Hanukkah to those who celebrate Hanukkah. Happy Advent to my Christian friends. Happy New Year after that. And so what we eat, what we're exposed to, more often than not, this is the way I see it, something from the outside is coming in that is causing a little trouble. So it can be from competitive movement, such as golfer's elbow, tennis elbow, wrist and fingers that can be painful from overusing them, using a mouse all day long. I do it all day long. I'm constantly writing. And so it's for writers. It's for those who are IT workers. All of those people are susceptible, but also athletes, so it could be a younger person as well. So I can go into my repertory. This is, of course, Robin Murphy's Meta Repertory, 4th edition. And I can look up what part of the body is the problem. I can look up joints. I can look up inflammation of the certain area. So I'm looking up elbow in particular. Why? Because that's my problem right now. I have an inflamed elbow. Never had it before. New for me. Sometimes my knees ache a little bit, but I notice this happens when I eat the wrong foods. Now, I don't eat grains. I completely eschew all grains. Am I saying that once in a while I don't have a piece of my daughter-in-law's sourdough bread? No, I will have a piece of my daughter's sourdough bread that she's made from scratch. But as a daily fare, as a weekly fare, no, I don't eat grains. But I do think that one of my problems is that I'm using this, I'm at my laptop, my desktop, all day long. And I'm writing, constantly working that. And I've been eating a lot of dairy. Now, I think dairy is a great food, but not if it causes trouble. So that's something we have to kind of look at, because I think the numbers are something like 65 to 70% of the American population has an intolerance to dairy. And it shows up in different ways. It could be the skin, it could be the gut, it could be anxiety, it could be fatigue, it could be bloating, could be joints, the bursa, all kinds of areas. So even though I'm talking about this as a winter issue, we do have to consider it's more than just winter. It is also what we're eating, and the cold weather can instigate it and make it much, much worse. So the first medicine I think of for bursitis, which is the most common, I'm going to give these to you actually in alphabetical order. I think I've put them in alphabetical order. The first one is arnica. And the reason I like to start with arnica is because it's such a commonly used medicine. Arnica is a great remedy for pain, but particularly if the pain is as a result of an injury. So if somebody fell on their elbow or their knee or their hip or whatever, even if it was months ago, that maybe that injury has not resolved, or it's coming back up again because it was never completely finished. And now the person's eating a lot of grains. They're having bagels, or they're making cookies, or they're in a cookie exchange, or that all of this time of the year can instigate it. Now, arnica, we don't think of arnica necessarily as a remedy that's specific for when we have an inflammation such as this related to cold, but it is something that's related to pain from an old injury or old trauma. So I want you to remember arnica. It is also a medicine that you don't necessarily must have an injury or a trauma to use it. It can just be used as a great pain remedy. And so people are going to ask me what potency, and I'm going to tell you, my friends, I generally use 30s or 200s. And I use them, if it's bad enough, we use it every 15 minutes for 1 hour, and after that, maybe every few hours, and see how it goes for a day or so. If it resolves, then we know we stop. And this is going to be true for all the remedies I'm going to be talking about tonight. If it's better, we halt. If it needs to carry on further because it's partially worked on and we need to go a little bit further, then we carry on a little bit further. If something gets worse, maybe not your elbow or your knee, which is what you were treating, but instead now let's say, I don't know, your eye starts to twitch. It's likely not the right medicine if you're not getting results, and that happens. So those are kind of very skeletal ways to consider looking at this, okay? The next remedy I like to think about is apis. And actually, if it was in alphabetical order, Apis would have been first. Apis mellifica, and that is when there is, on the joint, there is swelling that is hot and kind of boggy. So if it was on the wrist, this would all be kind of boggy and swollen and red and perhaps even a stinging pain. And again, if that were it, I would use, if I thought that was it, I would use Apis 30 or 200 every 15 minutes for 1 hour and then back off to maybe every 2 or 3 hours, depending on the severity. Now, if it's a mild version, my friends, I don't know if I would use it every 15 minutes. I think that's just, it might be a little bit overkill. But I hope you get the feel for how often you use these medicines. The next one is Bellis. Bellis paranis, Bellis, B-E-L-L-I-S, not belladonna, even though some people spell it B-E-L-L as an abbreviation. It is Bellis paranis, and that is when there's an inflammation from a previous injury. Bellis is keenly connected, my friends, to arnica, very similar remedies. But the difference is it also can be used for repeated strains. Now, if we're looking at the elbow or the wrist or the elbow and arthritis or bursitis, then we're going to be considering certainly going to be considering that as a place where there is a repeated strain, because that's what's being used on a day-to-day basis. Then I'm going through these quickly because I want to get to something else. Bryonia, that's for pain and swelling of the elbow that is worse from movement. Staying like this is not painful, but once we start moving, that's when it hurts. That is bryonia, 30 or 200, remember. Now, if it's not very severe, my friends, it's not a big deal. It's a little annoying. I would not use it every 15 minutes for the first hour, and then every hour or so after that. I would use it just twice daily. We always are trying to be conservative with homeopathy. Often less is better. Sometimes more is better, but if we're not so sure, be a little more on the conservative side for any of these. Okay, the next one is Rhus tox. Now, that's the one that I figured would be useful to me because I was so certain that this was bursitis. I used Rhus tox, and that has pain and stiffness, worse on first getting up in the morning, and especially if the person has arthritis elsewhere or has had arthritis in the past, has used Rhus tox, R-H-U-S, second word, tox, T-O-X, then you know that this could be a remedy that could be considered. Now, I'm giving you all of these because there's so many different ways to look at something like bursitis or arthritis. I thought Rhus tox was going to help me because Rhus tox has helped me so much in the past. When I've had a little arthritis here or there, I take a couple doses of Rhus tox, and Bob's my uncle. Then there's Ruta. Ruta is another one that I actually tried for this. And then I'll tell you what I ended up doing. There's a lot of stiffness with Ruta, very closely related to Rhus tox. They're often confused. Ruta is R-U-T-A. Second word is graveolens. I know I'm going quickly, but you can watch this again, so you can jot things down if you need to at a later date. Then there is silica with excessive swelling, especially at the elbow. I'm not going to go through too many more because we got a lot of remedies to consider. Causticum, spongia, calcarb. Now, let me tell you what I ended up doing. Because I thought that what I had was bursitis. And then I thought about it, and this is what I want you all to do. So I want you to learn from my mistake. My mistake was, must be bursitis because it's right on my elbow, and it must be the bursa. And then I thought about it. I have pain right here, right as I touch this area, and that's called the condyle. It's the end, it's the rounded part of the bone that is like kind of a protuberance at the end of the bone. And that is the medial area because of the side that it's on. And it's epicondylitis is what I believe that I've got. And it's called golfer's elbow often, which is kind of interesting. I don't play golf, but I am at my computer all day long. I'm typing, writing, and responding all day long. So this is what I did. I decided that that was what I was going to consider very strongly. I went into my repertory, and I went to elbows. I'm on page 600, am I 680? Hold on a second. No, 681 for anyone who has the Meta Repertory by Robin Murphy. You can follow along with me. Page 681 under elbow. And I looked under inflammation because that's kind of what it is. And I have to tell you, I find that I don't like the word inflammation very much because I think it's overgeneralized. But in this case, I didn't really know how else to explain it, and I went through all of these rubrics. When I went to the elbow section, my friends, I got my finger, and I went down and looked at every single one of those rubrics under elbow. Not that many. It's not a big deal, and I'm learning a lot as I'm going along, but I wanted to make sure that I really tightened it up and I was sure. So what I found was elbow, under elbows, on page 681, inflammation, and then condyles around. That's the sub-rubric, condyles around, so around the condyles. And there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, about 20 remedies there, and that's not a lot. The most important ones are calcarb and rhododendron. Now, rhododendron is a great remedy for inflammation of the condyles, for the elbow in general, for joints, for bursitis. It's also one of our great remedies. Rhododendron. Yes, it's the flower. Yes, it is. But then I looked at, these are the main remedies. I'm going to read them to you. Agaricus, I wrote them down on over here too. Agaricus, ambrosia, anacardium, antar, aurum, calcarb, which was bold, calcphos, chelidonium, China S, hypericum, Kelly chloride, plumbum, rhododendron, very important, bold, roostox, rudosilica, and symphytum. Now, I love the medicine calcphos for me. It's one of my favorite medicines. It's a cell salt. Why do I love this medicine so much? Because it has helped me in the past with a bone infection. It's helped me in the past with sleep. It is also one of those medicines that it's not only for this kind of person, but it really pegs it nicely. It is specifically for a small woman with a lot of energy. I think that's me. So it's a great medicine for me. I've used it in the past. I would not likely choose a medicine based on only that because I want a more of a 3 or 4-legged stool. But because it has helped me so much in other areas around in relationship to bones, I really like calcphos. But I'm also going to tell you my other favorite remedy in this group, and somebody already got it. Somebody already figured it out. And it doesn't surprise me who it is. Let's see if I can find that. Phoenicia, symphytum. I'm so on it. It is symphytum, I believe. I love symphytum, Symphytum, even though it is not one of the bold medicines in the repertory here. Even though calcphos is not a bold medicine in the repertory here. I am going, absolutely, Susie B says, yes, symphytum for sure. Once I recognized that this was on the bone itself, it was not the bursa. And why didn't I know this? Let me just parenthetically tell you, why didn't I know this? Because I didn't want to pay attention. I don't want to pay attention to my elbow. I just want to get it out there. I just want to get my work done, finish my day, spend time with my family. That's what I want to do. So I've not even started it yet, but I'll let you know how it goes next week. I'm going to start Symphytum 200 mixed with calcphos 3. That, my friends, is a Banerjee protocol for anything bone. Anything on the bone. Not necessarily around but on the bone. It is the bone. It's right on that rounded bone. Right there. And so, my friends, that's what I'm going to start using. And I'm going to share that with you next week to let you know how I'm doing with that. And I wrote this prompt for tonight. What was it? Maybe 4 days ago, 5 days ago. That's when this started to hurt. And I thought, you know what? This is going to force me to pay attention to my elbow because I don't want to. And yes, it's a denial. I don't want to pay attention to illness. Now, if I were really, really suffering, then I might go further and I might dig a little bit deeper. Okay, let's see what everybody's saying. Burning pain, worse sleeping on the painful side. People are asking. Burning pain if you're saying in the bursa. First, you want to recognize, Melissa, that the most important thing is you want to know, is this a joint? Is it joint pain, so it's arthritis? Is it the bursa that's the soft, the sort of the liquidy part, semi-liquidy part around the joint, around joints? Or is it something else? Is it the actual pain on the bone itself? That's what you want to determine. Because otherwise, if we're guessing, like what I did, I took Roostox, did nothing. And I would notice it. I would notice a shift within a day or so for something like this. Why would I notice it so quickly? I'd like to know what you think. Why would I notice it so quickly? Let's see what you think, friends. What are your thoughts? 2 days says, okay, 2 times per day. Yeah, I'm going to take it twice daily, 12 hours apart. Yeah. What is the key to knowing if it is bursa or something else? The key is, where is that pain? You're going to do it online. It's not homeopathy is not going to tell you what it is. Homeopathy is going to give you the remedies choices. Instead, what you're going to have to look up is, what is it that I have? And go online and look it up. You're just going to have to poke around and figure out what it is. Because that's on you. It's not on homeopathy to tell you what your condition is, okay? No, Marge says it's because I'm not on meds. Well, I'm not on meds. That's right. Because I'm super awesome. You people are so funny. Because it's the correct remedy. Now, I'll tell you why. I think I would go away pretty quickly because this is an acute and it's short-lived. I've not had this for years. It's never been met with drugs. I think that helps. It's not the only reason, but because it's fairly new, it's only about 5 days old. I believe that once I start the Symphytum 200 mixed with Calc Phos, and I'm going to use it in a 3, Calc Phos 3, Symphytum 2, I'm going to say it again so you get it, Symphytum 200 mixed with Calc Phos 3 twice daily. I think it's going to go in a day or so. I'm going to notice a difference so that when I press on the rounded aspect of that bone, let me just look at my notes here. It's not going to be as painful. It's not going to be as tender because that's what it is. It's mostly tender. So the condyle, which is that right here, it's not around the whole elbow. It's not on the outside. That's tennis elbow. On the inside is gopher's or golfer's elbow. We have to figure out what exactly it is before we can actually treat it, even though we have symptoms. Now, sometimes we don't know what something is, right? Sometimes it's in the gut. It's someplace in the area of the belly. We don't know. Is that pancreas? Is it gallbladder? Is it the stomach? I just don't know where it is. Then we have to kind of take a little more of a guess, unless we go for tests and MRIs and go for those kinds of indicate a test so that you can indicate what it is exactly. You folks are so funny. Can we take 2 remedies separately, or I have to get the Banerjee all-in-one combo ready from OH? I would take them simultaneously. You can get 1 bottle of one and another bottle of one bottle of Symphytum and the other bottle of Calc Phos 3, and put remedy, 1 dose in here and hold it in your mouth, and the other dose of the other remedy in your mouth. So you're still taking it simultaneously. You don't need to get it from OHM, but boy, it sure is convenient. I happen to have it. Warmth for bursitis. Now, here's the thing. Sometimes warmth helps bursitis. Sometimes coolness helps bursitis. And that's what you want to determine. Be careful that you don't, I love chiropractors. So let me just start by saying that. And occupational therapists and physical therapists, I think they're all great. I love people who do body work. But I also have to tell you that a lot of times they'll say just ice it. And what they're saying is just to keep the inflammation down. I disagree. I think keeping the inflammation down from ice is not a good plan. I don't know that it would do damage, but it's not giving you good information. It's not allowing it to show you what's going on, number 1. Number 2, Um, I think the body needs to get inflamed to a certain degree so that it can do the work it needs to do. Okay, here we go. Kathy says, wow, Joette, I use some vitamin Calc Phos for my inflamed SI joint. My grandson with a broken jaw is using this. With my other grandson is using it for scoliosis. Symphytum, thank you for saying this, Kathy. Symphytum 200 with Calc Phos 3 is used for all three of those conditions. Yes. It is any time there is a bone condition, even though in the repertory it doesn't show up that way. We know the repertory is a beautiful map, but it's not perfect. All the roads are not mapped out. And as more repertories come out, subsequent to Robin Murphy, I don't know if anyone else is ever going to take up Robin Murphy's work where he left off, but it is a very good place to start. But I hadn't even thought of Symphytum Calc Phos because I wasn't even thinking it was my bone. I thought it was the bursa. But when I went to it and I said, this is the condyle, and there's Symphytum, there's Calc Phos, and so I know that the Banerjee protocol is to combine them. I have to be careful with heat. Too much made my broken shoulder hurt from inflammation. Yes, Pat, you're absolutely right. I think we need to be careful with forcing something to go a certain way. I think we want some little bit of inflammation to a certain degree. Doc, my elbow hurts when I press it here. Allopath response, stop pressing it. I looked at that just now, and I knew as I was reading it, I didn't look at the name. I knew it was going to be from Harry. Don't touch that anymore. If it hurts, don't touch it. Oh, wow, I have white rabbit syndrome. I'm late for a very important date, darn Lynn. Don't worry, you'll get this information. I think it's up in about half an hour or so. It'll be up and you'll be able to watch it again. Beverly, Harry, so did my dad, but he was trying to be funny. Doctors are not. Okay. Ice restricts the blood flow. Thank you, Pat. You're absolutely right. Ice restricts the blood flow. And other areas too. But my sense is that we should not be forcing something to reduce. Instead, we're going to use homeopathy. And I'm also going to cut back on the dairy. I'm going to try. I mean, my son, has been making this unbelievable L-Reuteri cream yogurt. Oh, my friends. I try to eat just a half a cup a day. I'm having a hard time doing it. It is beyond delicious. It tastes like creme fraiche. Okay, I have a similar situation with someone. If they hit something, it grows a bone growth there. My friend has a growth on her knee. I thought about using this mix, but wondered if I needed to dig deeper because of the cause. Mindy, I think that's a good point. But there's a growth. Okay, I know my students know this remedy. Not that I wouldn't use Symphytum Calc Phos. There's another remedy for growths, for exostosis. I would call it exostosis on the bone, right? I love that yogurt too, says Pam. Okay. Ice is for dead people, no flow. Jennifer says. Ice is also bad in TCM for another reason, not to ice. Okay, let's see what else. We wish that simple, Harry. Unfortunately, I think they're more often say take this drug. That's right. Yes, Pat, you've made the whole milk pancakes twice. Aren't they to die for? Someday I'll talk about that soon. Well, calc floor, silica, good choice. Cindy S., thank you. Hecla lava for exostosis. It's the first remedy I think of. It doesn't mean that calc floor can't be it. It doesn't mean that silica can also not be it, that you can't consider those. Maureen says Hecla lava for bone growths. Yes. Yes, overgrowth of the bones. Do I love you people? I just love your responses. You are creme de la creme, my friends. I can't tell you how much I appreciate your time with me. I can't tell you how much I love being with people of your caliber. And what is that caliber? Curious, interested, willing to look it up, willing to learning from each other, but also buying the books and diving in and taking the courses. It's just Hecla lava, says Maureen. That's what Cindy says, Hecla lava. Yes, absolutely. What potency? I use 30s and 200s. There we go. Yes. I'm going to tell you that generally I'm going to use 30s or 200s. 6s are really great for certain circumstances. 1Ms are occasional too. Would Hecla lava work for bony scar tissue after an injury? Scar tissue's a little, might be a little different. It's possible. It's certainly possible. I think I used Hecla lava for plantar fasciitis. Yes. Yes. You raise us all up, Joe. It says Shannon. Thank you. You teach us well. Conchetta, do you have the recipe for the pancakes? Okay. Let's tell us really quickly what the pancake recipe is. Let's see if I can remember it. It's 1.5 cups of powdered milk. I use powdered cream because I'm looking for fewer carbs. I mix it with, I think this is right, 3 eggs and baking powder. Teaspoon of baking powder. So the baking powder goes in with the dried, dehydrated milk or cream. Mix those 3 ingredients together, and it turns into a batter. And then you pour it into the frying pan with butter. The butter is all hot in the frying pan. It makes pancakes. Now, I don't eat it with maple syrup. My family eats it with just more butter on top. So it's cream with eggs and butter. It's fantastic. Yes. There we go. Pat says 1.5 cups of milk powder, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, and 2 to 3 eggs. I did it. I remembered it from scratch. Yes. It is a fabulous recipe, friends. The only problem is the powdered cream is so expensive. I get it on Amazon. I haven't found it at Whole Foods yet. I will probably find it one of these days, but would you use it for bone growth under the knees? Osgood Slatters, but my 70-year-old brother has had it recur after surgical removal. So when it is a bone growth, my friends, I automatically think of Hecla lava. Would Hecla lava help a bone spur? Hecla lava, bone spur. Yes, I need maple syrup. Sorry, says Pat. Oh, well, Donna, you're going to love this recipe. And the beauty is that the ingredients are always there. You just keep them at home. All right, my friends, it is 8:31. I'm going to go to my Mighties. And stay with me, Mighties, and we can talk some more, and I'll answer some more questions. Merry Christmas, friends.